Greetings to all of you in the name of him who does all things well, even Jesus, who is the Christ. As president of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, I thought it necessary to speak to us, particularly at this particular time, because America is in a phase of reopening. And because of that, there are many questions being asked. What about our churches? Even in our own state, our governor just recently relaxed many of the restrictions and basically advised churches to make that decision on their own and suggested that maybe June 1st would be a good time. I would like to suggest that from my perspective, I do not believe that our churches are ready to reopen. Not June 1st, and not even in the month of June. In fact, I say to you emphatically, New Hope Baptist Church on Beasley Road here in Jackson will not be reopening. You ask me why? There are several reasons. Number one, testing is still an issue in our country and in our community in particular. Number two, tracking or tracing still an issue in America and particularly in our communities. Number three, African Americans are infected at a higher rate in terms of percentages than anyone else in the country. Number four, African Americans die more often than any other group in the country. These issues are alarming issues. And for that reason, I do not believe that it is time for us to return to in-person public worship in our facilities. If you do not know where the virus is, you cannot tell who has it and who does not. In my opinion, the risks are simply too great for us to return at this particular time. Here's what I do believe. I do believe that this is a time for us to make plans to return so that when that time comes, we may simply implement our plans and return to in-person public worship and to do so in an environment that is as safe as it can be. My brothers and my sisters, I am sensitive, I really am, to all of the issues that are involved and that are related to this issue. I am sensitive to all of the economic issues. I am sensitive to all of our pastors and many who struggle. And for that reason, I will be very soon be asking those of us who are stronger, as it were, to be sure we make sure we help those who are not as strong, those who are indeed struggling, so that we can do so. I will be asking us very soon to help make that happen. But in the meantime, I want you to remember, we did not attend the Congress. We canceled the Congress. We did so for that reason. I am meeting via Zoom with the Executive Committee often as we contemplate the convention in September. What shall be our disposition? And we will inform you very soon as to what we believe God's will is for us as it relates to our convention. In the meantime, my brothers and my sisters, please know that because of all of the ancillary issues, the variables that we do not have answers to, at this particular time, I cannot, no way, recommend that you return. However, I am aware, I'm fully cognizant of Baptist church polity, and I do adhere to Baptist polity, and I do know that churches will make that decision independently. But from my perspective, it is important that every preacher, every pastor recognizes how important it is for us to make sure that we seek to protect those persons that God has entrusted to our care. Now, there will be those who will suggest that perhaps it is a matter of faith or doubt that we do not return. I want to suggest to you once again, I do not, as president, see an inherent conflict between faith and reason. I do not believe it is a matter of reason or faith. I believe it is both, because I believe that faith is the completion of reason. And so we use reason and faith. And reason says to me, the time is not right. Too many unanswered questions. And so I cannot recommend that we return. In fact, I recommend that we pray and ponder before we make that decision to return. What about faith? Here is what faith says to me. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. That is what faith says to me. And finally, I want to encourage all of us to make sure that when we're in the public domain, we wear a mask. We practice social distancing. The experts, the scientists, and health professionals inform us that wearing masks, practicing social distancing are the two greatest weapons we have to impede the progress of this invisible enemy. I encourage you to make sure you wear your mask and practice social distancing. And finally, my brothers and my sisters, someone will ask, are you optimistic or pessimistic? And I say to you, I am optimistic, because here's what I believe. If we retain faith in God, remain vigilant, we shall be victorious. And I encourage you not to see yourself as a victim, but as a vessel that God will use in a mighty way on the other side of this crisis. My brothers and sisters, be safe is my prayer. Practice social distancing. Practice wearing your mask in the public. And yes, know this, when God is for us, not even the virus can ultimately win that victory, because the virus is invisible, but our God is invincible. To God be the glory. Shalom, shalom.